Super Shinto Lord Chapter 1, Through Resurrection. Am I transmigrating? Uguihai looked at the handsome and somewhat immature face in the bronze mirror in front of him, his mind floated slightly. After some surprise, he quickly calmed down. They come, the security. As a person who has died once, he is very fortunate to have the opportunity to be resurrected, but he is not too excited. Maybe after experiencing life and death, you will look down on everything. The memory of his predecessor was inherited by him. After some browsing, Uguihai knew his current situation. His name is also Uguihai, a remote town under the control of Yukingzu, Baitsong Prefecture of the Dashing Empire, a person from Qingshan City. The family is a noble family in Qingshan City. Both parents are martial arts masters. They have a great reputation in this small Qingshan City. In general, his current status is barely a dude. In his previous life, Uguihai was a person with a weak heart. He liked a simple life without competition from the world. After traveling here, this character has not changed. To be a playboy, to roam around, drink, and have a lot of fun, is exactly the life he yearns for. However, he soon discovered that this seemingly simple goal is basically impossible to achieve. This world is not a pure ancient world. There are such terrifying existences as demons, ghosts and monsters, and news comes every now and then. Where they are ravaged by ghosts, there are countless casualties, and where they encounter monsters, they are swallowed by dozens of people. Fortunately, there are warriors and immortal masters among human beings, who have vast supernatural powers, can subdue demons and eliminate demons, and protect one side, which gives ordinary people a chance to survive. Even so, if you want to live a normal life here, you don't have to think about it. Maybe one day you will meet a ghost and take your life. In addition, his identity brought convenience, but also danger. As a noble family in Qingshan City, the Yu family naturally has many enemies. These people are all staring at him, the only heir of the Yu family, and will kill him whenever they get a chance. The reason why he was able to pass through resurrection is because his predecessor was assassinated, seriously injured, and died suddenly in his sleep. Thinking of this, Uguihai's heart tightened, and he glanced left and right, seeing that there was no one else in the room except himself, so he relaxed slightly. However, since someone stabbed him once he knew that he was not dead, he would definitely come again. In other words, his life was threatened all the time, and he could be taken away at any time. Why is it so difficult to live an ordinary life? Uguihai sighed softly and muttered to himself. Suddenly, a faint light flashed in his eyes, and the momentum of the whole person changed suddenly, as if a sharp edge was transmitted, like a peerless sword suddenly unsheathed, and cold light radiated everywhere. Since this world is so dangerous, then I will practice martial arts and cultivate immortals to strengthen myself. If you are strong enough to not be afraid of all monsters, ghosts, snakes, and gods, and you are invincible in the world, you can naturally do whatever you want, and you can live whatever life you want. Having set up his ambition, Uguihai calmed down, and the sharpness receded, returning to the appearance of an ordinary boy. For ordinary people, it is very difficult to practice martial arts. If you don't say anything else, you won't get any martial arts secrets. Because those martial arts secrets are all in the hands of aristocratic families, sects, and officials, unless they are recruited and given credit, they cannot be learned at all. Even if there is an occasional exodus of martial arts, it will be fought by countless people. Either the price is ridiculously high, or the competition is not something that ordinary people can afford. However, for Uguihai, this is nothing. The Yu family was originally a wealthy family in Qingshan City. They had their own family handed down martial arts for him to study. His parents were both martial arts masters, so he naturally trained his only son with all his heart. It's a pity that the predecessor's qualifications were average, and after 3 years of study, he didn't learn anything. The family tradition of the basic practice, lay drum pile, didn't even get started. This qualification is a bit poor. Uguihai frowned slightly. This situation is the most unfavorable to him. If his predecessor was lazy and did not learn, it would be fine. As long as he studied hard and practiced hard, he would naturally be able to learn well. However, in my memory, it can be said that the predecessor worked hard day and night without slackening, but there was no effect. So it can be seen that this body really does not have the qualifications to practice martial arts. In this case, even if he worked harder than his predecessor, what was the use? Oh, it would be nice if there were golden fingers. Yu Guihai remembered the time travel novels he read in his previous life. Which of the protagonists in it is not against the sky, and can quickly become stronger with ease? How did you come to him? But there was nothing. Ugh. Yu Guihai sighed again and shook his head. Suddenly, an invisible interface appeared in front of his eyes. Host, Yu Guihai. Strength, 5+. Agility, 6+. Constitution, 5+. Spirit, 8+. Martial arts, drumming pile, not beginner, plus. Upgrade point, 1. Yu Guihai had a look of surprise on his face. He blinked again, and blinked 3 times, finally confirming that the invisible interface really existed, not a hallucination. Goldfinger. Even though his nature was indifferent, he couldn't help but feel excited at this moment. It's no wonder, I thought that my aptitude was inferior, and it would be difficult to go far on the road of martial arts in this life, but unexpectedly there was a turning point, and everyone was excited. Yu Guihai took a deep breath, tried to calm himself down, and closed his eyes to carefully appreciate the golden finger. After a while, he opened his eyes with a smile on his face. This is a system. There are no other functions, except that it can be upgraded. As long as the plus sign is displayed on the transparent interface, Yu reading www.yuyukeungshu.com can be upgraded. Just like the drumstick, as long as you recite it silently, you can immediately increase a level. Thinking about the 3 years of day and night ascetic cultivation of the predecessor, there was no entry. But now you only need to meditate gently, you can get started immediately, saving years of hard work. Yu Guihai felt a little embarrassed, it was so unfair. However, he quickly dismissed this idea. This is where his chance lies. Existence is reasonable. It can be said that this system is his own talent. There's nothing unfair about using your talent to improve your martial arts. Thinking of this, Yu Guihai immediately recited, "Upgrade the drumstick." Boom. Immediately, a flow of information exploded in his mind, and countless images of cultivating the drumming pile flashed, as if he had gone through countless times of hardship in an instant. He immediately understood and thoroughly understood the method of drumming practice, and many of the originally vague details of cultivation became clear. The flaws in it are automatically corrected and become perfect, and the training effect has also been enhanced a lot. At the same time, there was a strange movement on his body, and the muscles in his body automatically kept squirming according to a certain fixed rhythm. His breathing rhythm was also adjusted accordingly, and his breaths faintly matched the movements of his muscles. The rhythm of the muscles urges the blood to flow faster. Through the skin, it can be seen that the blood vessels under the skin are all bulging, with a unique rhythm, which is filled by the accelerated blood flow. Yu Guihai felt the heat all over his body, and his whole body was filled with a surge of strength, as if he could kill a cow with one punch. Muscle rhythm, bloated blood vessels, and coordinated breathing are the criteria for getting started with drumming. Yu Guihai looked happy. At this time, the efficacy of the system was finally confirmed, and he was completely relieved. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 2, this system is so good. Host, Yu Guihai. Strength, 6. Agility, 6. Constitution, 6. Spirit, 8. Martial arts, drumming pile, beginner. Upgrade points, 0. Strength and physique have each increased a little, but not much. However, once you exercise, your body will speed up the blood, and a huge force will be generated in your muscles, which can greatly increase your own strength. This is the key effect of this martial art. Yu Guihai raised his hand, urging the drumming technique, and suddenly the muscles in his hand burst out, and a strong force was born spontaneously, and he gently punched the ground. Boom! Half of his fist was submerged in the ground, he raised his hand and left a deep fist mark in place. This exercise also enhances the hardness of the body. It is a comprehensive improvement of physical quality, which makes my real strength much stronger than before. Feeling the slight pain in his hands, Uguihai secretly said in his heart. The ground in the house is made of rammed earth, which is very hard and strong. Before he raised it, if he slammed it down with one punch, he would at most make a little scratch, and his hand would definitely swell. At this time, it seemed that the movement just now was a bit loud, and an urgent voice suddenly came from outside the door. Higher, higher. Then, a figure pushed the door and rushed in. When he saw that Uguihai was safe and sound, the man breathed a sigh of relief, took a few steps to the bed, and asked with concern, "Why did my son get up? You hurt your inner organs and need to rest." The visitor was a dignified middle-aged woman, looking at him with concern and nervousness. This is Zhao Yun, his mother in this life. Unfortunately, she didn't know that her son was dead, and now the person in front of her has changed souls. However, while Uguihai accepted the memory, he also accepted the emotion of his predecessor. He had a mother-son relationship with the woman in front of him. "Well, everything about you is mine from now on, and your mother is also my own mother." Uguihai sighed, letting this emotion melt into himself. The little resistance to Zhao Yun in his heart disappeared. Suddenly, Uguihai felt his body and mind suddenly clear, as if there was some kind of invisible diaphragm shattered. Comparing before and after, he understood, and only then did he truly and completely integrate into this body. "Mother, my injury has improved. It's fine to get up and move around." Uguihai replied with a smile. Maybe it was because of his possession, or maybe other reasons, the serious injury he suffered in the past has healed unconsciously. However, the injury he suffered before was seen by everyone, and it would be difficult to explain if he healed suddenly. So he can only say that the injury is getting better, as long as it doesn't affect his getting out of bed. Waiting for a few days to talk about recovery, it will be less doubtful. Uguihai's bright smile made Zhao Yun lose her mind for a moment. She hasn't seen her son smile for many years. Since he failed to practice martial arts, he has become taciturn, and he only knows how to torture himself through penance every day. It hurts her heart when she sees it. Now my son is laughing again. Could it be that the injury is too serious, and he knows that the end is coming, and the light will return, so? Thinking of this, Zhao Yun's eyes turned red, tears the size of beans dripped down, and she cried, "My poor son." Uguihai didn't know what she was thinking. Although she was stunned, she also spoke to comfort her. "Don't cry, mother, I have a happy news for my son." "A happy event?" Zhao Yun was taken aback and looked at her son. "Yes, mother, I've started to play drums." Uguihai laughed. "What?" Zhao Yun suspected that she had heard it wrong. Jizi is like his mother. This son is obedient and obedient. He is good there, but he has no qualifications to practice martial arts. Now that the serious injury has not healed, but he said that he has started to play drums, who would believe it? Could it be that he hurt his head and got crazy? "Son, are you all right? Don't scare your mother. I'll see if you have any dark wounds on your head." Zhao Yun hurriedly held Uguihai's head and carefully looked for the scars. "Hey! Mother, where did you go? I really broke through. If you don't believe me, look at the fist marks on the ground." Uguihai understood what his mother was thinking after a little thought, and suddenly felt helpless, and hurriedly pointed to the fist marks on the ground and explained. Zhao Yun looked down and was surprised. She is also a master of martial arts herself, and is familiar with the martial arts of the Yu family. Of course, she can see the details of this fist mark at a glance. You must be a beginner to play this kind of fist mark. So, son, have you really broken through? Zhao Yun was ecstatic. Her son's breakthrough is even happier than her own breakthrough. Over the years, she has seen his son's hardships in his eyes. Seeing his son's progress at this time, she is instantly overjoyed. "Yes. How about I perform for you?" Uguihai nodded, and was about to get up to play the drumstick. However, Zhao Yun hurriedly held her down. "Don't, son, my mother believes in you. Your serious injury is still not healed, so don't use force easily." Uguihai sat down obediently. At this moment, there was a sudden gurgling sound in his stomach. I'm hungry. Wait a minute, I'm going to get you a medicinal meal for your mother. By the way, I'll tell your father the news of your breakthrough. When Zhao Yun heard this, she lovingly tucked the quilt and left in a hurry. After his mother left, Yu Guihai called out the invisible interface and found that the plus sign after each item above had disappeared, and the upgrade point at the bottom had also changed from 1 to 0. This is because upgrading requires upgrade points. Yu reading www. If the yuyukeungshu.com upgrade point is gone, it will naturally not be able to upgrade. A little upgrade point can upgrade any item at a time. The origin of the upgrade point is very simple. After midnight every day, one is automatically generated. It is used on the same day, and it becomes invalid after expiration. This system is really good. Yu Guihai felt a little joy in his heart. His temperament likes to be indifferent to the world, and he doesn't like to fight, snatch, and snatch. And this system automatically refreshes an upgrade point every day, so there is no need to kill anyone to obtain things like divine power, soul energy, and vitality, which is just right for his character. I don't know how this system came about, but there is no doubt that there is a system that is enough for him to settle down in this dangerous world, become stronger quickly, and finally live the life he wants. There were hurried footsteps outside the door, and someone soon pushed in. It is a middle-aged man with a good-looking appearance. He is unsmiling and dignified, but there is a touch of eagerness in the corners of his eyes, which shows that his heart is not calm. I saw my father. Yu Guihai sat on the bed and greeted him with a serious expression. The middle-aged man is the father of this life, Yu Renlong. He is a rigorous person, and his family education is very strict. He requires Yu Guihai to follow the rules in his words and deeds, and not to act recklessly or indecently. Yu Guihai felt that he was not a warrior, but an old schoolboy. Well. How does my son feel? Yu Renlong nodded lightly and asked. Chi's father, the child's injury is no longer serious. Getting out of bed will not be affected. Yu Guihai replied. That's good. Yu Renlong replied noncommittally, then fell into silence, but his sharp eyes stared at Yu Guihai. A tense atmosphere rose up in the room. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 3, Study Hard. Unnecessary. Did he see something? Yu Guihai was apprehensive in his heart, but his face was not timid, and he looked at Yu Renlong with burning eyes. After a while, Yu Renlong's expression softened, and suddenly he said, I heard from your mother that your drum-beating pole is getting started? Yes, father. The child was not injured this time, and it was a blessing in disguise. Suddenly, he found that the drumming pile had entered the door, and even his internal injuries had improved a lot, and it no longer affected his actions. Seeing this, Yu Guihai breathed a sigh of relief, and calmly explained the well-thought-out explanation. Do not move. Yu Renlong said as he walked forward, and stretched out his hand to around Yu Guihai, causing him to get goosebumps. After touching it, Yu Renlong nodded, yeah. Very good. Your martial arts have really gotten started, and your injury has improved greatly. There is only a little internal injury left that needs to be slowly adjusted. Afterwards, he said with a thoughtful look on his face, your situation is called breaking and then standing in the martial arts. This time the injury just happened to help you break your own shackles. As for the improvement of the injury, the drum stick has the effect of strengthening the body. It is also natural to take advantage of the breakthrough opportunity to recover from the injury. That's right. The child has been taught. Seeing the standard answer automatically given by Yu Renlong, the last worry in Yu Guihai's heart dissipated, he bowed his head slightly and said respectfully. However, you must not be arrogant and slack because of this. You must know that you can break through and stand up. The previous 3 years of hard work are indispensable. In the future, you must study hard and practice hard. Yu Renlong said with a straight face. Baby, remember your father's teachings. Yu Guihai replied solemnly. Why do you study hard and practice hard? My son's injury hasn't healed yet. You should let my son recuperate and talk about it. Zhao Yun's voice suddenly came from outside the door, and then she walked into the door with a pot of fragrant medicinal food. As soon as she entered the door, she gave Yu Renlong an angry look, and then looked at Yu Guihai lovingly. Don't listen to your father, it's important to take good care of your injuries. In the future, you must combine work and rest when you practice martial arts. You mustn't take your life as before. Come on, eat this pot of medicated food made for your mother. As she spoke, she took a few steps to the front of the bed. The medicinal food was placed on the table, and she was about to feed Yu Guihai with a spoon in one hand. Mother, I'd better eat by myself. Yu Guihai smiled awkwardly, reaching out to take the food bowl. It would be a bit embarrassing for people to feed him when he is such a big man. Humph. A loving mother has many ruined children. What do you know about a woman? Yu Renlong snorted coldly beside him, and refuted with a cold face. What kind of loser? My son stays at home every day to study hard, never go out to stir up trouble, ask flowers and ask willows, where is the loser? Zhao Yun was originally going to insist on feeding her son, but when she heard this, she became furious. She put the spoon of the food bowl in her son's hand, stood up abruptly, and sternly countered. I won't tell you, Yu Renlong shrank his momentum and simply walked away. I can't cure you. Humph. Zhao Yun snorted proudly as she watched her husband go away. In fact, she is not angry with her husband, but is afraid that her son will return to the way he used to be. If there is no progress in martial arts, wouldn't it be a heavy blow again? Yu Guihai did not comment. Over the years, my parents have quarreled a lot about their own affairs, but their relationship has not been affected, otherwise my mother would not have immediately thought of telling my father about her breakthrough. Holding the basin, he suppressed his strong appetite and ate and drank in small sips. You have to be dignified when you eat, and you can't lose your temper. This is what Yu Renlong taught. How is it? Is it delicious? Zhao Yun turned around to face her son, and immediately regained her motherhood. It's delicious. The medicated meals made by my mother are delicious. Yu Guihai did not hesitate to praise him. Besides, this medicinal diet was really useful to him. After eating it, he immediately felt the heat spread out, and he felt warm and refreshing in his body, just like the dry land was moistened by rain. This is because he has just recovered from a serious injury, and has broken through his drumming, which has consumed a lot of nutrients and energy, and his body is in a state of deficit. Eat more if it's delicious. After eating, I'll cook it for you for my mother. Zhao Yun was praised by her son, and she burst into laughter. Aha! Yu Guihai swallowed the fragrant and nutritious medicinal meal in his mouth, feeling fortunate in his heart. Fortunately, I have traveled to such a wealthy family, otherwise I would have become a poor man, and it would be very difficult to practice martial arts. Not to mention the secrets, the consumption of cultivation alone is not enough. The poor and the rich are more prominent in this world. Here, martial arts is the real kung fu. If you succeed in cultivation, you will become extremely powerful. Where does such a powerful force come from? Of course you have to eat well. Otherwise, the body will be deficient. If you don't have enough nutrition, you will already be depleted to death before you can practice martial arts. Ha! Yu Guihai finished eating quickly and patted his stomach happily. Are you still eating? Zhao Yun asked kindly. No, mother. I'm full. Yu Guihai replied. This medicated meal seemed like a small amount, but the nutrition in it was amazing. After eating it, he was a little panicked. He looked up and looked out the window, it was already dusk outside. The brilliance of the setting sun shone down, rendering the clouds bright red. The room seemed a little dark at this time. Zhao Yun stretched out her hand a little, a faint light flashed on her fingertips, and a candle on the table immediately ignited. The red flames illuminated the surrounding space, as well as Yu Guihai's heart. A strange light flashed in his eyes. This is inner strength. It's really amazing. Don't look at his mother Zhao Yun's kind and harmless appearance in front of him, in fact, she is a master of inner qi. I just lit the candle with my bare hands, which was caused by arousing the inner qi. This hand seems simple, but if it is applied to a person, it can kill instantly. The image of the assassination flashed through his mind. The assassin in black slashed at him. At that moment, his mind was stunned. There was only that deadly light in his eyes, as if a mountain was pressing down on him and imprisoning him. The only thing he could do was to die in front of his eyes. At this moment, a loud shout awakened his mind. "Do you dare to be a dog thief?" The blade light suddenly shattered, and the vision returned to normal. I saw a glittering palm coming from behind, and a palm slashed at the back of the black-robed assassin. The assassin was shaken all over, a mouthful of black blood spurted out, and the black blood squeaked on the ground, exuding an astonishing high temperature. However, the assassin was tough enough, and he threw out the long knife in his hand with a ferocious expression, and then he fell to his death. However, the assassin was finally hit by a fatal blow. His strength was insufficient, and the long sword could not be stabilized. In the end, it was the handle of the sword that hit him, and its power was inexhaustible. Even so, this blow also severely damaged the predecessor and finally killed him. From this, it can be seen how powerful Zhao Yun, the mother of the assassin who killed the assassin with one palm. And her cultivation base is only the second realm of the 5 martial artist realms, the initial stage of inner energy realm. What about higher levels? What about the fairy? Yu Guihai was a little excited. The change in his expression did not deceive Zhao Yun. Yu reading www.yuyukeangshu.com. She immediately began to blame herself, knowing that her son was addicted to martial arts and showed off his martial arts. If he was stimulated and returned to the original state of desperate cultivation, wouldn't it hurt him? Son, look like a mother. Zhao Yun felt that she should do something, so she stared at Yu Guihai Dao with a serious face. What's the matter? Mother. Yu Guihai was stunned for a while, not understanding what happened. Although martial arts is important, life is more important. I hope you don't give up your life to practice martial arts in the future. Zhao Yun said sternly. I know, mother, don't worry. Yu Guihai answered easily. He breathed a sigh of relief. He thought what was going on, so serious. With the upgrade system in hand, he doesn't need to work hard at all. As long as he is leisurely and carefree every day, his strength will naturally increase rapidly. You agree? Zhao Yun was very surprised. She had persuaded her son before, but in exchange for her son was even more desperate to cultivate, but she did not expect that she would readily agree this time. Yu Guihai nodded, thought for a while and replied, my child has learned some truths from this life and death experience. There are many things in this world that are more important than practicing martial arts. Just do your best in martial arts, you don't need to force results. What he said was exactly what he thought in his heart. He didn't need to practice hard in the future. Zhao Yun didn't know what Yu Guihai was thinking, but when she thought about her son's assassination, she began to feel distressed. How hard it was for her son to say such old-fashioned words. She was sentimental for a while, and then she picked up the empty basin and said, my son has this realization, so mother can rest assured. It's getting late, you should rest early. After speaking, he turned and left. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 4, Ligas Wang Xiaocheng, contract has been sent. There was the whistling sound of the wind outside the window, and the shadows cast by the branches on the window paper swayed non-stop, like a ghost with its teeth and claws, making people shudder. On the indoor bed, Yu Guihai opened his eyes and stretched. He woke up at this time because it was past 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, the upgrade point was refreshed, and he could continue to upgrade the drumstick. According to his temperament, he wants to sleep until he wakes up naturally, and then upgrade. It is the truth to be calm and enjoy life in peace. However, the speed at which he improved by the upgrade system was too fast for people to know. If you are treated as a monster, it will be over. During the day, my parents watched closely, but they could only sneak up in the middle of the night when no one was there. Yu Guihai dispelled his drowsiness and called out the invisible interface. As expected, the upgrade point has changed from 0 to 1. Okay, that's great. Yu Guihai smiled. The system refreshes an upgrade point function every day, which is his guarantee of skyrocketing. At this point it is finally confirmed. Upgrade the drum stick. After Yu Guihai was overwhelmed with excitement, he couldn't wait to read silently. In an instant, he felt an explosion in his mind, and countless images of cultivating the drumsticks flashed. His understanding of the method of training the drumsticks became deeper, and more details and flaws of cultivation were presented and corrected one by one. His body trembled violently. In an instant, it seemed that he had undergone years of ascetic cultivation and had undergone significant changes. His muscles were bulging, his flesh and bones were greatly strengthened, and his body became much stronger in a moment. Yugui Haifu was so heartfelt, he immediately flicked his body, got up and walked to the flat next to him, standing on a solid horse stance. Looking closely, you can see that the horse stance he is standing on is different from ordinary ones. Generally speaking, horse stance should be steady. It should be still and steady. When training to a high depth, you can put a bowl on top of your head and fill the bowl with water. If you stand for several hours, the water in the bowl will not spill out. As for the pile he was standing on, although his body did not move, his muscles were shaking. This shaking was not random, but had a strange rhythm like a heartbeat. And the rhythm of breathing is in harmony with the rhythm of muscles, and every breath has its own rules. As the muscles vibrated, his chi and blood began to speed up, and a faint sound of rushing could be heard inside the body, and the blood vessels on the skin began to swell and contract rhythmically. The intensity of muscle shaking instantly increased several times, and the ensuing agitation of blood vessels was also more powerful, and the blood flow was faster. And as the blood accelerates faster and becomes stronger, it gradually begins to affect the heart. Soon, his heart began to beat faster and more powerfully, which in turn pushed his blood to speed up faster. Boom boom boom. Yugui Hai lowered his head to observe the position of his heart, and saw that the skin was beating slightly, which was an obvious manifestation of his heartbeat. The apparent heartbeat is the sign of Xiaocheng in drumming. Drumming Zhuang Xiaocheng. Yugui Hai rejoiced in his heart, and immediately stopped his work. The muscles that were bulging high then relaxed. Although it still increased compared to before the upgrade, he couldn't see it when he put on clothes. This made him feel a little relieved, otherwise his body would suddenly increase overnight, and anyone would be able to see the problem. Yugui Hai called out the invisible interface and immediately saw the changes in the data. Name, Yugui Hai. Strength, 9. Agility, 7. Constitution, 9. Spirit, 8. Martial Arts, Drumming Pile, Xiaocheng. Upgrade points, 0. The upgrade point has returned to 0, and the drumming pile has reached the realm of small success. The strength and physique have each surged by 3 points, and even the agility has increased by a point. The increase is quite large. That's not all boosting. After returning to the sea, the chi and blood in the body suddenly accelerated, and it was more than 3 times stronger than the entry-level level. A powerful force was generated when the hand was raised. The muscles on the arm can be seen bursting out, like the roots of an old tree. Full of feeling. Uxin smashed the ground with a fist to test the power of his fist. But after thinking about it for a while, I gave up, because the movement was so loud that my parents were disturbed and they couldn't explain it at that time. However, even if he didn't experiment, he could estimate that his punching power was at least 3 times stronger than before the upgrade. With a single punch, he could easily pierce through the hard-rammed earth. If this kind of power was considered a top boxer in the previous life, but in this life, it is not even the first realm of warriors, and it still belongs to the category of ordinary people. Cuckoo. There was a strong hunger in the stomach. Lay drum pile hammer forging the body, laying the foundation, also consumes a lot of nutrients and energy, otherwise it will cause the body to be deficient, and even self-destruct the foundation and shorten lifespan. Yugui Hai instantly raised the drumming pile to Xiaocheng, which greatly strengthened the body, naturally consumed a lot of energy, and caused a certain deficit to the body. However, fortunately, there was last night's medicated diet at the bottom. This deficit was not serious and did not affect the foundation. As long as the follow-up diet is supplemented, it can naturally be easily made up. Yugui Hai came to the bedside and opened the drawer of the bedside table, revealing a sandalwood food box with gold strokes inside. When he opened it, there were several pieces of delicate snacks in the food box. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com The delicate cakes at Diangxiangfang in the city cost a tael of silver for just these few pieces, and most people can't afford them at all. And as a son of a wealthy family, this is just a daily snack. Yu Guihai squeezed a piece of cake into his mouth, chewed it gently, savored it carefully, and nodded slightly and commented, "Yes, it melts in your mouth, sweet but not greasy, and the lips and teeth are fragrant. The reputation is well deserved." Yu Guihai was calm, and tasted the cakes with an elegant temperament. The idea of enjoying life was engraved in his bones, and even when he was so hungry, he still took it as the first priority. When he swept away the cakes slowly and quickly, the hunger in his stomach finally eased. "Although this pastry is good, it's far from my mother's herbal supplement. I'll ask my mother to make more tomorrow." Yu Guihai wiped his mouth and lay on the bed with his eyes shining. He was in a good mood just after the upgrade and couldn't fall asleep, so he began to ponder some things in his heart. "In 2 more days, my drum-beating pile will be complete. At that time, I can learn the real martial artist advanced exercises, so as to enter the martial artist's first realm, the body-forging realm. However, how should I tell my father that I can learn the cultivation technique?" Thinking of this, Yu Guihai was a little troubled. His rapid upgrade was cool, but he couldn't tell outsiders, and he had to hide his clumsiness. And with his father's old-fashioned style, he would never allow him to learn body-forging techniques in advance. This is an irreconcilable contradiction. It seems that the only way is through my mother. Yu Guihai instantly found a breakthrough. My father seems to be serious, but in fact, he is a strict wife. As long as he gets his mother, it is not a problem to learn the exercises in advance. As for her mother's doting on her, it shouldn't be a big problem. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 5, Family Martial Arts. The breeze was blowing slowly from the window, and it was refreshing on the body. "Mother, this medicinal diet is very beneficial to me. I make one more at night. I want to eat more." Yu Guihai finished the medicinal meal elegantly and quickly, and said with a contented face. The slight loss caused by improving his skills last night was quickly made up for by the essence of the medicinal diet, which made him feel warm all over, like sunshine. "My son just likes to eat. Eat more, the injury will heal faster." When Zhao Yun heard her son's words, she couldn't stop laughing. Seeing that his mother was happy, Yu Guihai rolled his eyes and said, "Mother, tell me about martial arts. You used to say that I didn't know how to practice martial arts, but now I'm getting started with drumming. Qualified to know. It's pitiful to say, as the only heir of the Yu family, he doesn't even know much about the family's martial arts, and the only thing he knows is Liguzwan." Zhao Yun heard the resentment in his words and didn't care. She smiled kindly and said, "Don't be arrogant, my son. You are still far from your fitness level, so you can't be considered successful in martial arts." Haha. After educating her for a while, she continued, "However, I should also tell you about family martial arts. There are 6 types of martial arts passed down from our Yu family, including 2 kung fu techniques, lay drum pile, Jiang He boundless art, and 4 kung fu techniques, white ape tong arm fist, tiger roar fist, shueiyue condensing wind saber, and swimming fish body technique. Drumming stakes count as well?" Yu Guihai said unexpectedly. Family martial arts are generally secret martial arts that are unique to the family and rarely seen in the outside world, and are often of higher rank. And there are many low-grade exercises that are widely spread outside, and many people know them, so they can't be called family martial arts. And the drumstick is just a basic exercise, he thought it couldn't be called the level of family martial arts. Seeing this, Zhao Yun immediately said with a serious face, "My son, please don't underestimate this drum-beating stake. Although this is a basic exercise, it also has its own unique features. This exercise hammers the body, stimulates qi and blood, and then affects in the heart. When one cultivates to a great achievement, there will be a vision of the blood flowing like a stream and the heart like a drum." Speaking of which, she turned the conversation and asked, "Do I know the level of the forging realm?" "I know, there are 7 levels of physical training, which are skin refining, meat refining, tendon refining, bone refining, blood refining, visceral refining, and marrow refining." Yu Guihai replied without hesitation. "Although the previous practice is not good, but I know a lot about these martial arts common sense. My family's secret drumming pile not only has a body-strengthening effect that surpasses ordinary basic exercises, but also can hammer forge the heart in advance, which most people can only do if they reach the realm of visceral refining. It is precisely because of this that this exercise is listed as a second-grade rank, which is no lower than the boundless art of Jianghe, and the basic exercises in the entire Qingshan city are unparalleled. Zhao Yun said with a proud look on her face. I see. I didn't expect the drum-beating stake to have such a magical effect. Yu Guihai praised. The level of visceral refining can be regarded as the advanced realm of body forging, and those who can reach this level of cultivation are also number one in Qingshan city. Taking the Yu family as an example, Tian is one of the 4 major families in Qingshan city. Apart from his parents and the old butler who are inner Qi realm warriors, the rest are all body forging realm warriors. And the drumstick can actually achieve the effect that can only be achieved at the level of viscera refining in advance, no wonder it can be listed as the second rank. This rating is not too low. Martial arts are divided into unqualified grades, third grades, second grades, first grades, and unique skills. The Yu family's most advanced Jianghe boundless art is only second rank. The whole Qingshan city may not have the first rank martial arts. What about the other martial arts? Yu Guihai asked eagerly. In other disciplines, Jianghe's boundless art is the fundamental practice of the Yu family, which can be cultivated to the state of penetrating veins. Its strength lies in the inner qi that is cultivated, which can not only burst violently, but also last for a long time, just like the boundless rivers, unstoppable, eloquently. As for the 4 martial arts, Bai Yuan Tong arm fist belongs to the basic boxing method. After training, you can condense the strength of the whole body. If you have learned something, you can condense the strength of the whole body together and develop it at will. If you are successful in this boxing method, you can practice it later. Other martial skills can also benefit. It counts as a third-grade rank. The remaining 3 martial arts are all second rank. It's too early to tell, you just need to understand. Zhao Yun only talked about Bai Yuan Tong arm fist in detail, but did not elaborate on the remaining 3 martial arts. Jianghe's boundless art is so powerful. Mother, can I read it? Yu Guihai said with a look of excitement on his face. This, Zhao Yun hesitated for a moment, and said, it's fine if you just look at it, but this secret book is the true inheritance of your Yu family. It's your father's custody, whether it's passed on to men or women. If you don't reach the drum-beating stake, it will be difficult to break through. Ah. Forget it. Yu Guihai looked disappointed, he never thought of this. This world is similar to the ancient concept of the earth. The core exercises of the family cannot be taught to children who are not directly related, and wives are generally not qualified to learn. Even if his father had strict control over his wife, he would certainly not be sloppy in such a major event related to family inheritance. Seeing her son's disappointment, Zhao Yun couldn't bear it in her heart, and persuaded her, you haven't completed your drum beating, so it's useless to read Jianghe's boundless art in advance. However, that white ape tong-arm fist can be practiced a bit, and it's better to lay the foundation ahead of time. Thank you mother for making it happen. Yu Guihai showed a hint of excitement at the right time. Although he didn't get the boundless art of Jianghe, Yu reading www.yuyukeangshu.com, but being able to learn by Yuan Tong arm fist is a bit of a gain. It's not that there is no martial arts upgrade after 2 days. Your father is out. In the afternoon, I'll bring by Yuan Tong arm fist's manual. You'll understand it first. However, drumming is the foundation, so don't put the cart before the horse. Seeing her son happy, Zhao Yun was also happy, but she still didn't forget to warn her. I know. Yu Guihai said. You're back. As soon as Yu Renlong got home, he saw his wife greet him. He nodded and went straight to the chair in the lobby and sat down. Zhao Yun followed, took the teapot and cup, poured a cup of hot tea and handed it over. She originally wanted to talk about Bai Yuan Tong arm fist, but seeing her husband's brows furrowed and his expression calm, she seemed to be in a bad mood, so she hesitated. Although she is a little more powerful, she is not the kind of sloppy who doesn't know what to call it, and she will not deliberately cause trouble. Yuner, what do you seem to be doing? Yu Renlong quickly discovered his wife's abnormality and asked with a frown. It's something. My son wants to learn a martial art. I promised to teach him by Yuan Tong arm fist. Zhao Yun looked at her husband's face and said. Then let him learn. Yu Renlong sighed and agreed immediately. You agreed? Zhao Yun was shocked. She thought she would quarrel with her husband for a while, but she did not expect to agree so easily. What's the matter? My son wants to learn, how can I stop him? Yu Renlong said with a relaxed smile. No, you have something in your heart, you and I are one husband and wife, don't hide it from me if you have something. Say, is there a turning point in the assassin's affairs? Zhao Yun, however, saw the clue. Her husband had something to hide, and immediately asked with a solemn expression. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 6, Undercurrent. I can't hide anything from you. Yu Renlong gave a wry smile, and then said with a cold expression, Li Yuanbiao still refuses to be accommodating. There is insufficient evidence to kill him, so he can only follow the rules. Humph, there's not enough evidence. Then Li Yuanbiao is really annoying as my Yu family. Why don't we just shoot? Zhao Yun's face was like frost, she snorted coldly. Don't be impatient, we are not as strong as one enemy in three. I am going to report to the chief clan first, and wait for the chief clan to reply before making plans. Yuren's dragon face sinks like water. The most famous thing in Qingshan City is the mining industry. Most of the mines are controlled by the four major families, Yu family, Wang family, Meng family and Qing family, and the government. Among them, the government does not participate in the mining, but only adjusts it in the middle, and collects heavy taxes from the four major families. Outside Qingshan City is the 100,000-strong mountain, which is endless, and new mines are often discovered. There are rules for the allocation of new mines. If the discovery belongs to the four major families, the discovery family has the priority to mine. If a force other than the four finds it, it will be purchased by the four and then distributed. The distribution method is that each of the four companies will send 10 masters to compete, and the share of the mining rights of a new mine will be allocated according to the number of victories. This rule is a method jointly negotiated by the ancestors of the four families and the government, and has been used for hundreds of years. But this time, the other three broke the rules. Not long ago, someone discovered an iron ore deep in the Shirwanda mountain. According to the rules, the four families are ready to compete for a battle. The Yu family has always been a lot of masters, and they can take the most share every time. Unexpectedly, on the day of the competition, an assassin suddenly broke into Yu's house and assassinated Yu Guihai. Yu Renlong and his wife hurried back when they heard the news, and finally arrived when the family guards couldn't support it, saving Yu Guihai's life. However, the Yu family also lost their strongest combat power and backbone. Under the deliberate targeting of other families, the entire line was defeated, and they lost 10 consecutive games and completely lost their mining rights. Yu Renlong later found out that this newly discovered iron ore was actually an iron concentrate accompanied by iron ore. Iron essence is a good thing, being able to forge weapons at the level of magic weapons, it can be said to be extremely valuable to warriors. Yu Renlong thought about it before and after, and suddenly realized that the other three families obviously knew the news in advance, so they disregarded the rules and joined forces to cheat the Yu family. Yu Renlong knew the inside story, so naturally he refused to give up. The hatred that his son was almost assassinated, coupled with the value of iron concentrate, made him unable to give up easily. In addition to bringing a lot of wealth, Tai Jing can also create magical weapons and greatly enhance the strength of the family's masters. If you turn in your backers, you will definitely get a lot of rewards. At that time, the strength of the other three masters has greatly increased, and it is no problem to overwhelm the Yu family. In the near future, the Yu family will even fall behind from the four major families in Qingshan City, which would be dangerous. Yu Renlong immediately took the assassin's body and submitted it to the government for arbitration, saying that the other three used a conspiracy to demand the redistribution of mining rights. However, Li Yuanbiao, the city lord, directly rejected it on the grounds that the evidence was insufficient to show that it was the conspiracy of the other three. He went looking for it again and again, but Li Yuanbiao didn't let go at all, and the result was the same today. Li Lingji faints. Yu Renlong sneered. In addition to the forces behind the four major clans to firmly occupy the Qingshan city mines, their unity is also an important reason. Although they usually have constant disputes, if someone touches the interests of the mine, the four will immediately watch and help each other out. Only then did he resist the foreign tigers and wolves and firmly occupy the Qingshan city mine. And the reason why we can be so united is because of the rules of our ancestors. This is the bottom line. But this time, for the sake of an iron or concentrate, the other three companies broke the rules, which is equivalent to breaking the foundation of trust. In the future, the four companies will be suspicious of each other, and it will be difficult to return to the past. Even the three companies that join forces will inevitably guard against each other's suspicions, and it is difficult to be single-minded. If there is a strong foreign enemy, it will be difficult to unite sincerely, and the possibility of being defeated by each person will greatly increase. This time, we were careless. I didn't expect that the other three would break the rules left by our ancestors and use this kind of rude means to deal with us. Aren't they afraid that we will use their own way to punish us? Yu Renlong said with a flickering cold light in his eyes. I've been thinking about this, and I don't think it's that simple. How could the three of them know the inside story in advance? They reached a tacit agreement so quickly and suddenly joined forces. There must be something strange about it. We have to be careful. Zhao Yun reminded with a solemn expression. Yu Renlong was thoughtful when he heard the words. What you said makes sense. Could there be any conspiracy involved? The other three should know that because of the preciousness of iron ore, the general clan will never give up. So why do they still do this? After all, their four major families are just the spokespersons of the forces above. To really encounter an important treasure such as iron concentrate, it depends on the game above. As long as they refuse to admit it, even the chief clan can do nothing. After all, the quartet forces on the chief clan have already established rules. The distribution of the mines in Qingshan City mainly depends on our four clans, and the chief clan cannot easily intervene. Unless we can convince us evidence. Zhao Yun sneered. In this way, the chief clan's evaluation of us will be low, and a punishment is indispensable. Yu Renlong sighed lightly. Now that this matter is beyond our ability, we should inform the chief clan as soon as possible. You can ask the second elder to help you and minimize the impact. Zhao Yun said. Alas. That's all I can do for now. I'll spread the news today. Yu Renlong said with a wry smile. In the study of Yu's family, Yu Renlong sat at his desk and worked hard to write. The next one was a kind old man with grey beard and stood with his hands down. The old man had a solemn expression and a respectful attitude. Occasionally, a glimmer of light flashed in his turbid eyes. This is the Yu family's old housekeeper Margin. Assisting two generations of the Yu family, he is also a distant relative, loyal, and his strength is even more internal, and he is one of the strongest combat powers in the Yu family. Uncle Liang, send someone secretly out of the city and send this letter to the general clan. After Yu Renlong finished writing, he dried the ink, stuffed the paper into an envelope, sealed it with a seal and handed it to the remainder. Old slave obeys. Yu Zhu took it with both hands and turned to leave. Drive, drive, drive. The three cavalry horses galloped on the official road leading to Yukingzu. The riders were all dressed in grey, with geese and ling knives on their backs. Their faces were serious, and their eyes were like eagles. Upon closer inspection, they all had a surname embroidered on the chests of their shirts. Suddenly, a black-robed man appeared in front of the road. This man was wearing a grimace mask, exuding a deadly aura, very strange. Rush over. The headed rider's eyes flashed without any intention of stopping. Instead, he snorted lightly and urged the horses to speed up. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and pulled out the goose-ling knife. The man took advantage of the horse's momentum, and the light of the knife was like electric light, slashing towards the black-robed ghost-faced man. And 2. At this time, there is absolutely no good person who appears to be blocking the road in this wilderness. Kill! The ghost-faced man let out a roar, like a ghost's howl, which was terrifying. Then the figure flashed, like a black smoke, easily dodging the sharp knife, staggered with the 3 riders. Cuckoo! Puff, puff, puff. The 3 riders covered their necks with their hands and fell to the ground in fear, with a lot of blood flowing from their fingers. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 7, Heart Beats Like a Drum. Mother, what's the matter with you? Are you not feeling well? Yugoe-hai asked with concern. In the afternoon, his mother, Zhao Yun, sent him the White Ape Tongji Fist Cheats for him to read. The mother and son chatted for a while, and Yugoe-hai soon noticed that his mother was a little absent-minded. From time to time, he was distracted and frowned, as if there was something to worry about. It's not a big deal, it's about iron concentrates. Your father and I will handle it yourself. You don't have to worry about it, just concentrate on your practice. Zhao Yun explained. Iron concentrate? Yugoe-hai was silent when he heard the words. He knew the reason. His mother had told him before that the reason why he was assassinated was related to the distribution of the iron concentrate. At this time, it seems that this matter is not very easy to solve. However, his strength is low now, and he can't do anything about this matter, so he simply doesn't talk about it anymore. The mother and son chatted for a while, and Zhao Yun let him rest and left. Yugoe-hai was stunned for a while, and then he took the White Ape Tong Arm Fist Cheats and watched it carefully. There is nothing too profound in this boxing technique. The main purpose is to control the muscles through exercise, so that the strength can be condensed and sent out. If the training is completed, the control of the muscles of the whole body will reach a very high level, which will not only enhance the power of punching, but also help to cultivate other martial arts. However, this boxing technique is easy to learn but difficult to master. Controlling the muscles of the whole body is easy to say, but it is extremely difficult to practice it, especially for some muscles that are not commonly used, and it is even more difficult to coordinate each muscle. For ordinary people to practice this boxing technique, it takes several months of work to get started, but if they want to practice it to a certain level, it is not difficult to achieve it without years of hard work. Of course, this boxing technique was nothing to Yugoe-hai. He quickly looked at this boxing technique, and the item of White Ape Tong Arm Fist, not beginners, appeared on the invisible interface. From then on, he could add some upgrades. It only takes 4 days to cultivate this boxing technique to the perfect state. Yu's mother Zhao Yun also planned to let him memorize boxing manuals first, and then personally guide him to help him get started as soon as possible, but how did he know that her son was a pervert at all? As for her plan, Yugoe-hai has already thought about it, and when the time comes, she can just pretend to cooperate. When people are at ease, time always flies by quickly. Before you knew it, it was already midnight. Yawn. Yugoe-hai stretched his waist, yawned long, refreshed his spirits, and got up and got out of bed. Upgrade the drum stick. Yugoe-hai browsed the invisible interface and said silently. Immediately, countless pictures of cultivating the drums appeared in his mind, and the protagonists of the pictures were all him, as if he had really practiced hard. The scenes were so real. His body reacted accordingly, the muscles all over his body trembled automatically, his breathing instantly matched the rhythm, and his heartbeat, chi, and blood all began to speed up. Faster, faster, faster. The effects of countless trainings were superimposed in an instant. His body swelled up visibly with the naked eye, his muscles became stronger, and his body swelled in a circle. The chi and blood in the body grew rapidly, the running speed quickly reached the limit, and there was a clattering sound in the blood vessels. In addition, his heart was strengthened at the same time, beating violently and very powerfully. Boom boom boom. The sound can be heard within a few meters, like the sound of a drum. Blood is pouring, heart is beating drums. Drumming is a great success. Yugoe-hai whispered to himself, the corners of his mouth curved slightly. After finishing the drumming, as soon as I exercise, my heart begins to beat violently, and the sound is like beating a drum, which can be heard close by. This is also the origin of the name of the Ligaswang exercise. Name, Yugoe-hai. Strength, 12. Agility, 8. Physique, 12. Spirit, 8. Martial arts, drumming pile, Deshang. Martial arts, White Ape Tong Arm Fist, not beginner. Upgrade points, 0. The upgrade point is reset to 0, the drumming is completed, the strength and physique are increased by 3 points, and the agility is increased by 1 point. When Yugoi Hai practiced, the chi and blood in the body immediately revolved at a rapid rate, and the level increased several times compared to that of Xiaocheng. What's more, under the urge of chi and blood, there seems to be a peculiar force flowing in the muscles, where the force passes, there is a significant increase in the body. He estimated that this force would reach his fist, and even a boulder could be smashed with one punch without hurting his hand. This kind of strength has exceeded the limit of human beings in the previous life. Very good. Yugoi Hai smiled. This speed of progress visible to the naked eye made him satisfied, and he was one step closer to realizing the dream of being a strong man. In the morning, the dew has not yet dried. An honest middle-aged maid with a basket on her back walked out of the Yufu gate with steady steps. Aunt Suihua, I bought it back. Xiao Shishir, the concierge of the Yu family, greeted the middle-aged maid with a smile on his face. Hey! Li Tsuihua replied naively, and walked into the house through the side door. Walk slowly, auntie. Xiao Shishir shouted diligently. Little stone, I said you haven't given up yet. Another middle-aged concierge pouted, and Yu read www.yuyukeangshu.com scolding. My daughter is so handsome, how could I give it to you? You don't take pictures when you pee. Uncle Li, you're wrong. Xiaoyu doesn't have Su Ren now, so why don't I have a chance? Xiao Shishir blushed when he heard the words of the middle-aged concierge, and argued loudly, but there was another kind of expression in his expression. Insufficient confidence in the color and inner sense. Cut, then wait. When all her babies are born, you will give up. The middle-aged concierge shook his head and sneered, ignoring it. Leaving Xiao Shishir shivering in anger, but he didn't dare to curse. Li Tsuihua lowered her head and walked quietly along the wall, all the way to the back garden. The back garden is not small. There are more than a dozen kinds of flowers, all of which are spread out in a regular manner. The branches and leaves are lush, the flowers are in clusters, and there are no weeds on the ground. It can be seen that the servants here are very attentive. There was a small house in the corner. Li Tsuihua went straight to the small house and opened the door to enter. There were many tools and sundries, mostly hoes and scissors. Li Tsuihua came to a small table, put the basket on the table, and took out some small clay pots, all of which were pasted with yellow paper, and there were handwritings written with a brush on the yellow paper. Moonflower, pink peony, golden rhododendron, etc., are obviously the seeds of flowers. Although she is simple, honest and clumsy, she has a craftsmanship of planting flowers and growing flowers. She is a gardener in Yufu, and she arranges the flowers and plants of the whole Yufu beautifully by one person, which is deeply appreciated by everyone. Her husband, Fang Dashan, is the head guard of the Yu mansion, and her daughter Fang Xiaoyu works as a maid in the Yu mansion. Both of their husband and wife have been in the Yu family for more than 20 years, and they are both loyal servants who have won the trust of the Yu family. After Li Tsuihua took out her things, she packed up her tools and walked out of the room. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 8, Lu Lin Street. Outside the window, the sun was shining brightly, and there were a few white clouds floating in the blue sky, and sometimes unknown birds flew by, one or two, or in groups of 3 or 5. There are green bamboo flowers planted against the wall in the courtyard, and the breeze brings the slightest fragrance, which makes people feel restless, only quiet and peaceful. Yugoi Hai stood in front of the window, with a faint smile on his face, calmly admiring the scenery outside the window. This is a pristine world, without industrial pollution, and full of primitive wilderness that human beings have not yet set foot on. It is the place of seclusion that he has always longed for. However, in this ideal world suitable for seclusion, there are such terrifying things as demons and monsters. Yugoi Hai had never seen any demons, ghosts, but the solid knowledge in his memory made it difficult for him to deny it was true. For example, in his previous life, he had never seen an atomic bomb, but he was sure that the atomic bomb was real. I don't know what demons and ghosts look like. Yugoi Hai thought silently. In the past few days, he has been free to read a lot of books about demons and ghosts. Demons and ghosts are still relatively rare in human gathering areas, but the so-called rare is also relative to the deserted countryside. If you compare it to a world where you were not allowed to become a spirit at all in your previous life, then the chances of ghosts and monsters appearing here are quite high. For example, in the area of Qingshan City, there have been many demon incidents in recent years, but they were all covered up by the power of the government and the four major families. My son is up. A gentle and kind voice interrupted Yu Guihai's reverie. He raised his head and saw that his mother was walking in from outside the courtyard gate, and hurriedly walked out of the house to greet her. I saw my mother. Huh. My son is a lot taller and stronger. Zhao Yun approached, with a hint of surprise on her face, looking up and down Yugihado. Ah. Yu Guihai was stunned for a moment, but he hadn't paid much attention to this before. He continuously raised the drumsticks, his body was strengthened in an all-round way, and his body was stronger than before, and he could no longer be covered by clothes. It should be my mother's medicated diet. I have been eating medicated diet for the past few days, and I have grown up in shape. Yu Guihai took his mother's arm and replied with a smile. It's just that you have a sweet mouth. You should be the reason for your breakthrough in drumming. Your accumulation is much deeper than others. You should have a stronger body and a stronger body. Zhao Yun blamed it very usefully, and then she helped Yu Guihai to make things right. Yu Guihai breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time he was vigilant. In the future, for this kind of practice that has a big change in appearance after cultivation, you can't improve too quickly, otherwise it will be easy to reveal your faults and be seen as abnormal. Madam, young master, the third son of the Lu family asks to see you. Yu Guihai was talking with his mother Zhao Yun in the house, when suddenly a maid hurried to the door and reported respectfully. Oh. Let him in. Zhao Yun frowned slightly and ordered. Then he glanced at his son and said, Son, my mother left first. The situation is unstable now, so don't leave the house. Baby, I know. Yu Guihai replied respectfully. Zhao Yun then left. When she came to the gate of the courtyard, she gave an expressionless command, You watch it, don't let me have any accident. As ordered. After the two capable maids saluted, they stayed in Yu Guihai's small courtyard. The third son of the Lu family. Lu Linqing. A faint smile appeared on Yu Guihai's mouth. Since he was assassinated, no outsider has ever come to visit, and Lu Linqing was the first. The Lu family is the second echelon of Qingshan City, and they are close to the Yu family. Lu Linqing is the third young master of the Lu family, a well-known playboy, who often goes in and out of the flower building at a young age. But it is this dude who is inseparable from his predecessor, which confuses those who know them. How can a scoundrel who spends time and money, a waste who cultivates martial arts and becomes an idiot, become friends? However, as the party concerned, Yu Guihai certainly knew the inside story. The two of them are just a sympathy for two unhappy wastes. No one in a family pays attention to it, and no one talks about the sadness in his heart. Another failed to practice martial arts, was disheartened, and was unwilling to tell his relatives. As soon as the two met, they quickly discovered that the other situation was similar to their own, and they immediately found a bosom friend. Yu Guihai flipped through his memory and felt speechless. What the two of them talked about when they met were all scolding the heavens for injustice, why my aptitude is so poor, and cursing the good aptitudes and so on. However, it is this experience of sharing hatred and scolding the sky together that makes the friendship between the two gradually deepen and eventually become close friends. Ahai, how are you? I heard that you were assassinated and I was coming soon, but my father banned me, and I only released it today. A handsome boy rushed in, looking at Yu Guihai from top to bottom. I'm fine. Yu Guihai said with a smile. Huh? How come you've grown so strong? You're also taller, what panacea have you taken? Lu Linqing suddenly asked in surprise. Where is it? I've been eating a lot of medicated food every day these days. It's true that I've gained weight. Yu Guihai replied casually. Not going to explain much about this issue. That's it. Lu Linqing didn't chase after him, and soon asked with an inexplicable excitement, right, you know. I was banned by my father this time and locked in the ancestral hall. Guess I met what? Yuguehai's heart moved slightly. This situation really wanted to be what a child would look like when he found something surprising. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that there were too many, and there was no way to guess. So he said casually, I guess, you have met a ghost. You just met a ghost. Lu Linxing laughed and scolded, besides, even if the ancestral hall encounters a ghost, it is my ancestor, and it will definitely not hurt me. Oh. Yuguehai said lightly. Yu reading www.uukanshu.com. Oh, what is it? Aren't you curious? Lu Linxing wanted to sell off his son, but Yuguehai picked on it so indifferently that he was so ticklish that he almost went crazy. Dog, you have changed, you were not like this before. Then what happened to you? Yuguehai asked cooperatively. Lu Linxing almost choked, rolled his eyes and said, I've convinced you, I can't tell you what I've encountered, I'll talk about it after I've researched it thoroughly. Yuguehai. I can't say, what are you asking? The two chatted for half a morning. Unlike before, this time they didn't complain about each other anymore. Yuguehai seldom spoke, and most of the time he quietly listened to Lu Linxing's dry mouth longing for the future. In his mouth, he will rise like a shooting star in the future, shining brightly. Yuguehai didn't know where his confidence came from, but he still reminded him that Meteor's life is short and instantaneous. Lu Linxing. Let's stay for lunch at noon. My mother made the medicated meal herself, so you can take care of yourself. Seeing that the time was approaching noon, Yuguehai held back. Before, in addition to listening to the bragging of this friend, he also inquired a lot of news from him. They were all left in the memory of the predecessor, and he didn't ask for deep understanding. He felt that it was valuable and took the opportunity to seek answers. It is rare to have such a source of intelligence, but you cannot let it go easily, you have to squeeze it for another afternoon. I'm so sorry. Lu Linxing said that his mouth was dry, and when he heard the medicinal meal, he immediately drooled, and he was no longer thirsty. I now believe the story of Wang Mei's quenching thirst, Yuguehai said. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 9, Xianqiao. Let's go, there's still some time, let's go to the back garden for a walk. Yuguehai stood up. He had been staying in the house these days, and he had never even been out of the yard, but he was suffocated. His injury is no longer a problem, and he has friends. As long as he doesn't leave the house, even if his mother knows about it, he won't stop him. Sure enough, this time, the maids outside the door did not stop her, but the two maids followed closely behind. Yuguehai didn't care, he kept finding a topic to chat with Lu Linxing, and asked the doubts in his heart by the way. Although many questions remain unanswered, there is one thing that can be answered. Hey! Your gardener is really good. Look at the manicured flowers and the back garden. They are much better than my gardener. When they came to the back garden, Lu Linxing shouted loudly. He looked left and right and asked, Where's the florist mama? Call her over, I have something to ask. Wait a minute, I'll have someone call. Yuguehai winked, and a maid turned to leave, and soon came with an honest woman. Mummy, the gardener is speaking. Seeing the woman being stopped in the distance, Lu Linxing shouted. So Li Tsuehua was kept in front of the two by her maid. Master, please ask questions. Li Tsuehua bowed to Yuguehai and the two of them, and said in a naive voice. This is the third son of the Lu family. He likes flowers and plants. He has some questions to ask you, and you must answer them properly. As the master, Yuguehai immediately ordered. The servants obey. Li Tsuehua bowed her head and said in a salute. Afterwards, Li Tsuehua answered Lu Linxing's questions about flowers and plants, and then retreated. Lu Linxing asked very seriously, and even took out a booklet and carefully wrote down the questions and answers. Yuguehai is used to it. This kid is like this. His only serious hobby is to play with flowers and plants. He always pays special attention to the issue of planting flowers and plants. He simply ignored it and walked around the garden alone to enjoy the flowers. In the past few days, it was the first time that he walked out of his small courtyard, which was very fresh. The fragrance of flowers is fragrant, and they are full of beauty. I don't know if it is because of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. These otherworldly flowers are particularly gorgeous and spirited. After a long time, there was a loud laugh. Ha, remember it, I'll try it when I go back, and see if my 3-star begonia can be raised well. After Lu Linxing wrote down, he couldn't wait to close his mouth with joy. I'll take a look at what you remembered. Yu Guihai said suddenly. Lu Linxing was a little surprised. Yu Guihai had seen the booklet many times before, but he never had the slightest interest in it. He only had martial arts in his heart, why did he suddenly read it now? But he didn't think about it too much, and carefully handed the booklet to Yu Guihai, saying, "Don't break it for me. This is my treasure. Do not worry." Yu Guihai stretched out his hand to take the booklet and focused his attention on the first few pages of the booklet. These few pages are in a soft and quaint yellow color, and there is a sense of mystery that particularly appeals to him in the simplicity and low-keyness. Mysterious Grass Record. On the cover, a line of words came into view. The font is an ancient style, and it is rarely used now, but the shape and meaning of the characters have not changed, and he can recognize them. Yu Guihai reached out and stroked it, the paper was soft and tough, like the leather of some kind of animal. When he opened it, the pages were filled with ancient characters. Xianming Nethergrass, its name is the essence of eating ghost blood, transforming into supreme power, condensing fairy fruit. Yu Guihai flipped through the pages with relish, and soon finished the first few pages, and then went back to the plain paper that was sewn on later. A thoughtful look appeared on his face. The opening page of the book introduces a strange mysterious herb. Cow. Using ghost corpses as nutrients, transforming it into the power of supreme essence to condense into fruit, people eat it like a panacea, and they can become immortals on the spot. In short, its content is mysterious and unusual, just like the Shanhaijing in the previous life. The topic of the content changed later, and a method of cultivating mysterious grass was recorded. This kind of mysterious grass is called small grass, which imitates the legendary Zuanminju grass. To cultivate small grasses, you need to find a kind of Yin-type spirit grass first. According to special ritual methods, you can use ghost essence to water, and then you can cultivate mysterious grass with similar effects of grass. This kind of mysterious grass does not bear fruit. The power of essence is stored in the leaves. Whenever a certain amount of ghost essence is absorbed, a leaf rich in medicinal power will grow. Although this leaf cannot make people become immortals, it can provide a lot of high-quality essence and energy, which greatly speeds up the cultivation speed. Regarding the content of the book, if it was in the previous life, Yu Guihai would just laugh it off, but in this world, he would not dare to deny it. Demons, ghosts and monsters are all real, so why can't the so-called Xianming nethergrass appear? In the same way, the method of cultivating small grasses is very likely to be true. If this thing really exists, isn't it exactly what I need? A bright light flashed in Yu Guihai's eyes. He can quickly upgrade his exercises, which is fast, but he has to consume a lot of energy and nutrients to supplement his body's consumption. Now the level is low, and it can be solved by medicated diet, but when the realm is high, I am afraid that the problem cannot be solved by eating medicated diet alone. At that time, there must be more advanced food to meet the needs. Among the warriors, the only ones that can meet the requirements are elixir and elixir. However, both are extremely valuable. Generally, martial artists work hard for years and months, and they can meet their daily accumulation needs by strengthening their nutrition every day. No one is like him. Therefore, general warriors can't easily use elixir and medicinal pills, and only use them at critical moments such as breaking through bottlenecks. Yu Guihai, on the other hand, wanted to eat the elixir as a meal in order to keep leveling up quickly. I'm afraid I can't afford this. Since then, this little grass has become one of his choices. Although cultivating small grass requires Yin-type spirit grass, it is also very precious, but once it is successful, as long as you provide enough ghosts, you can continuously get leaves and provide long-term cultivation needs. Is a sustainable resource. It's not like other spirit herbs that are eaten once and are gone. Of course, it's still too early to say this. Whether it's Yin-type spirit grass or hunting ghosts, he can't do it for the time being. This can only be used as a long-term plan. Yuguehai flipped through it several times, wrote down the contents of the book, and then turned it back. Those ordinary papers recorded only Lu Lincheng's notes of flowers and plants, so he had no interest. He casually handed the booklet to Lu Lincheng, and Yuguehai asked, "Your booklet is interesting. The mysterious herbs recorded in the front are too mysterious." "Mysterious is mysterious, but it may be true. I found these first few pages from ancestral relics." Lu Lincheng carefully put away the booklet and said casually. "Oh." Yuguehai's eyes lit up slightly. The Lu family is not as strong as the four great masters, but its heritage has a long history. It is said to be a declining family for thousands of years. If this thing is really the ancestral heritage of the Lu family, then it can increase a bit of credibility. "Ha, I lied to you. Although this thing is an ancestral relic, my family has tried it for a long time, and it is of no use at all." Lu Lincheng laughed. You. However, this thing actually uses ghosts as fertilizer, even if it is true, who can do it? Yuguehai shook his head and said. Super Shinto Lord Chapter 10, Through Arm. The night was dark, and the howling wind blew past, covering up many strange sounds. In Yuguehai's room, a figure moved to and fro, displaying a set of strange boxing techniques. The whole person was like an orangutan jumping up and down. Thanks to the large space in the room, otherwise it would really not be able to unfold. Although this boxing technique is weird, every punch makes a dull sound of puff in the air, showing that its power cannot be underestimated. After a while, Yuguehai finished his set of punches and stood still, with a thoughtful look on his face. During the day, his mother's words reminded him that in order to avoid the more obvious changes in body shape caused by continuing to improve the drumstick, he did not continue to improve the drumstick to the perfect state, but chose to improve the white monkey tongue jikwan. After cultivating, his white ape tongue arm fist reached the entry level. Although it did not bring any improvement in attributes, Yuguehai understood that his strength had improved a lot. By Yuan Tong arm fist condenses the strength of the body, which can make the strength more concentrated and exert great power. This has a complementary effect with the Lai Guzwan, which just makes it possible to exert the increase in physical strength brought about by the circulation of the Drummingzwang's qi and blood. Although the strength of the entry level by Yuan Tong arm fist is limited, it also makes his boxing power much higher than before he didn't practice this boxing technique. Drumming piles cost a lot to generate special strength in the body. With practice, this strength will continue to grow. When the drumming piles are completed, the whole body will be filled with powerful strength, and you can exert powerful strength with every move. And by Yuan Tong arm fist can directly condense the strength of the whole body together and release it at will. It is just right to release the power of the drumstick. Moreover, you can gather the strength of the whole body by raising your hands and feet, and you can also practice or use other martial skills. Do more with less, or exert the strongest power. This boxing technique is very good. Yuguehai nodded in satisfaction, wiped the sweat off his body, and went to bed. It was another sunny day, the sky was clear, and the breeze brought a little coolness. The young lady from a large family took the opportunity to go out to play. Yuguehai was not in this list. He frowned at a painting on the desk. A strange pattern was drawn with ink on the white paper. This pattern presents concentric circles. The small circle in the center is blank, and the large circle and the small circle are divided into 6 areas. Each area is full of distorted figures and lines. These figures and lines make people feel it feels uncomfortable just looking at it. The whole pattern has an evil feeling, which is chilling in the heart, and has a kind of creepy feeling of being in a haunted house. Tearing. Yuguehai stretched out his hand to pick up the paper and tore it into pieces. Only then did he feel that the slight discomfort in his heart disappeared. Who? He let out a long breath, a flash of excitement on his face. This pattern is a ritual formation in the little grass cultivation method recorded in the pamphlet of Saint Lulin. The pattern is very complicated. If he had not had a very advanced painting skills in his previous life, he really couldn't have drawn it so quickly. However, he did not expect this pattern to have such a strange effect. This also proves from the side that the cultivation method is indeed extraordinary. However, Yuguehai also saw the crisis. Just a casually drawn ritual formation has such a negative effect. If it is really prepared according to the cultivation method, what kind of terrifying effect will it cause? It seems that until my strength reaches a certain level, it is better not to try this cultivation method easily. Yuguehai said silently. Immediately, he felt a sense of urgency in his heart. Strength is still lacking too much. Even if you encounter good things, you are not even qualified to touch them, otherwise it will lead to disaster. Shaking his head, shaking off his worries, Yuguehai had a little doubt. This ritual formation is so strange. Why did Lu Linqing say that they tried it and it was useless? After thinking for a long time, he didn't have an answer, so he stopped thinking about it. Maybe there was something hidden. Son, my mother gave you a new herbal diet, how about coming to taste it? A mother's voice came from outside the door. With a smile on Yuguehai's face, he greeted him in front of the door in a few steps, and saw his mother Zhaoyun holding a large pot, which was full of fragrant soup. A few large pieces of meat exposed the soup noodles, and there were ginseng and ganoderma floating around. Of medicinal materials. As long as it's made by my mother, I like to drink it. Yuguehai took the big pot with a smile and said. Little mouth is so sweet. Let me tell you, this medicinal diet. Zhao Yun listened to her son's compliments, and laughed from ear to ear. She walked into the room while explaining the benefits of the herbal diet. Suddenly, her face changed suddenly, her eyes were as sharp as knives, she turned her head to scan the room, and at the same time, she stretched out her hand and put Yuguehai behind her and pushed out the door. What's the matter? Mother. Yuguehai's face was full of surprise, and some of the medicinal food in his hand spilled out. Where is the evildoer who dares to make trouble here? Zhao Yun ignored her son and suddenly let out a loud shout. She was like a cheetah and went straight into the house. A faint red brilliance suddenly appeared on the palm of her hand, and she slapped it towards the trash basket beside the desk as fast as lightning. Boom! The garbage basket burst into flames in an instant, and in an instant, it turned to ashes along with the contents inside. After burning the trash basket, Zhao Yun was obviously relieved, and checked the room carefully before turning around to look at Yuguehai. My son, did he come into contact with something like antiques? No. Yu reading www.yuukeangshu.com. Mother, what happened? Yuguehai asked curiously. It's alright, it's just mere yin. My mother has already eliminated it. Zhao Yun replied with a normal expression. Yin Qi. Yuguehai felt a sudden shock, thinking of the waste paper of the ritual circle that he threw in the trash basket. Immediately concluded that the so-called yin qi is likely to be brought by this thing. Yes, generally speaking, a little yin qi is harmless to people, and the most infirm people will get sick after touching it, but yin qi can attract ghosts, which will bring great disasters. Zhao Yun explained, with a hint of fear on her face. Obviously she was very troubled by ghosts. What? It can attract ghosts? Yuguehai was afraid, but fortunately, he did not continue to study the cultivation method in depth, and the ritual formation was immediately destroyed. Otherwise it is really hard to say whether it will attract terrifying ghosts. At this time, in his heart, he was even more attentive to the method of cultivating mysterious grass, and he was not going to study it until he was not fully sure about it. My son, be careful, think about it again. What special items are in the trash basket? Zhao Yun asked Yuguehai with his eyes. A special item? Yuguehai looked thoughtful, then shook his head and replied, no. He is not going to say anything about the ritual formation. It's too weird, and saying it might lead to bad consequences. Anyway, as long as he doesn't doodle in the future, there will be no more yin qi. That's weird. Forget it, this mere amount of yin is not enough to cause a catastrophe. You usually have to be more careful, and tell me immediately if there is any abnormality. Zhao Yun was deeply surprised, but she didn't struggle for too long. After a few words, she hurried left.